All right, should be up and running here in just a minute. We got about 4.5 minutes until the close, so we'll get to see how the Qs and SPY end up finishing this very bullish move here. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for January 31st, 2022. SPY up 1.7, Qs up 3.1, and IWM up 2.8. We haven't paid too much attention to the Qs and SPY, or to the IWM, because Qs and SPY have really given us enough to look at. All right, so coming into today, we were really taking all of last week, putting it into a range, and then looking to see which way we are going to go. Now, if you traded with me this morning at the open, I said that we will likely move up a little bit. How much will we get through the resistance? That part I don't know. The reason that I am starting off a little bit more bullish is because the last thing that happened was the failure of a sell setup. So where's the sell setup? Right here. Okay, so see how we start the trend lower. We try to produce a lower high right there, tries to go lower, and then no follow through and fails. So the most recent thing that we got going into the weekend was the failure of a bearish pattern, which is bullish. Okay, so a bullish event. So we're going to start off a little bit bullish. I definitely didn't expect a trend day, which is what we got. Trend day on the Qs, just kind of maintain the uptrend all day. Okay, that's not what I expected, but it does give us clarity for tomorrow. So for tomorrow, we will be looking for, and the earliest is going to be tomorrow afternoon, something like that, bullish on a either base breakout or on a pullback. Okay. Now, the next thing we will be looking at after that, the next thing that we will be anticipating is what happens, what does it look like when we get an hourly sell setup or a daily sell setup. Remember the last time we had a daily sell setup here, I said that between the Qs, the SPY, and the hourly and the daily, this is the cleanest pattern on any time frame and between the two. So this is what we're going to go with. We're going to be bearish because it is going to be triggering tomorrow underneath this low. And that's the pattern that stands out. Everything else was a little bit more muddy. Okay. So what will the next sell setup look like? We'll have to wait and see. Okay. We've only gotten one higher low so far. We want at least two. Typically the definition is three or more, but with the market, sometimes, it's not quite fully formed, especially if we're using a daily time frame here. We're not using an intraday time frame. So going into tomorrow, bullish, all right, on any kind of pullback, or if we get a base breakout into the afternoon, something like that, all right. And then we'll see in the days to come what the inevitable kind of daily sell setup is going to look like. Okay. All right, let's get into the plays from today. Still got about 1 minute until it closes, so I don't think we're going to change all that much on the Qs and SPY. All right. It's not on purpose that everything played today was under $1. It's not really stuff that I look for. But I don't know. For some reason, last week, SPPI was the nicest pattern. And today, as far as the gaps and the patterns, also the nicest. So I don't know. I'm guessing it's just kind of a coincidence. It's just because there are less other really standout plays that some of these penny stocks are kind of what's setting up and what looks good in a different environment. I would completely ignore them. So ESGC was the first play here. I played this in the morning on this breakdown here. It actually worked, but because I don't have a lot of experience with the penny stocks, I was way undersized on this. So this technically, if you were trading with me this morning, as you know, it did go 2 hours, but I was so undersized, I decided not to take it. So eventually it rallied back, and so ended up losing a little bit on it. But I mean, I like the setup a lot. It's a gap underneath a base, and then we're doing a low of the day base breakdown as the market's staying at the highs. It's just that it was like a half a penny stop, and so that means if it goes a penny, that's your 2 Rs. So, um, yeah, it's not really the type of thing that I'll typically play. Ironically, like last week, a lot of these are setting up and looking good. Um, DS was pretty nice. We'll take a look at this base shakeout and then a breakout. Sorry, not the DS. Although DS was nice, but it is above $1. This was someone else found this base breakout on the DS. What I meant to bring up was the FTFT. FTFT, look at that base, shakeout, and then a breakout. So again, a very tight base, less than 1 penny really, on the FTFT. So really nice pattern. You know, if we got something like this on a $20 stock, and even if this consolidation doesn't have to be a penny, it could be 10, 20 cents, I'll play it. But we're not getting stuff like that really on anything else, especially on the gaps. So yeah, just really nice. Small reward or small stop gives you a nice chance at a decent reward to risk. And then this SPPI moved a little bit in the afternoon. What I liked about it was just this hourly sell setup here. This was the really nice one from last week, and then it was kind of staying weak. It didn't get much out of it on this one really. Yeah, just kind of a breakdown there. Okay, so often Mondays during earnings season are still slow. But what I'm noticing about this earnings season is so far it's taken a while to get going. Still have a lot of big names this week though, so I have no doubt that things will pick up. It's just a little bit unusual that it's taking this long to get going, but that's fine. I mean, I think yeah, I'll just kind of keep making the most out of what's out there. And lately that's been pretty boring and a little bit of a challenge not to take low quality plays. I mean, as you can see, the best quality stuff that I can find are some of these sub $1 stocks, which I normally don't even scan for these. These aren't even in my universe. Usually someone else will find them, and then it'll just be the best of what's out there. So yeah, a little bit challenging, a little bit surprising that earnings season is taking so long to get going, but we have a lot this week. This week and next week should be the bulk of earnings reports. So, you know, if it ends up being a pretty slow earnings season overall, that's just the way it's going to be. But I'll definitely let you know. I mean, we'll be here day in, day out. We'll do the scanning. We'll go over the earnings list. We'll go through the gaps. So, you know, if things start to pick up, I'll definitely let you know. All right. All right. Hope you did well today. All right. I don't think there was a lot, but maybe, yeah, just made something out of nothing, which I thought today was kind of a nothing day. Unless you got something long early and it was able to hold with the market, because the market had some decent uptrend today. Yeah. But that wasn't what I expected. And so a lot of times on these trends like this, you have to be ready for it right at the open and say, okay, today's going to be the move. Because notice how if you play some of these, like either this later breakout or even this breakout here, you either get shaken out or you don't really see much out of them. So a lot of times with these market trend days, you got to be ready for them at the open. You got to catch something right at the open. If you don't, you know, trying to jump on late sometimes will get you shaken out, or you know, you'll just be too late and miss the bulk of the move. So, all right. So, you know, that just provides its own little challenge. And sometimes it's easy to look at, you know, the size of the bar and think, oh man, I should have just played anything long. Well, you know, it's not that easy. We were looking at a lot of long setups this morning, and plenty of them did not follow through or did not follow through much. Okay. All right, guys. We'll be back at it tomorrow, and I'll talk to you then. Have a good evening.